been delaying this for a while. It's time to start. It's time to stop delaying and just get it done. I hope you're straight. If I'm crooked, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm crooked, but that's okay. All right, let's just start before I talk my way out of my plant chores. So today I have so much to do. Thank you for joining me. Hi, welcome. So let's call it getting things done together. That's it, getting things done together. So I have my, I almost said Anthurium, my Philodendron Verrucosum that has outgrown this setup. As I do this repotting, I might throw in some clips of when it all started. I did manage to find a Verrucosum, but don't get too excited. It's extremely small. Yep, so this is a Philodendron Verrucosum. And you know what? I got this as, I think it had 2 leaves. It was a 2-leaf cutting, but it was for $10, just $10 for 2 leaves. Instead of getting a really big expensive plant, I thought let's just start with something small. I can learn from a smaller plant than a bigger plant, you know. I mean, it's still risky because if I lose it, it's just like 2 leaves, right? But I don't know. It was, I think, $10. I was willing to make that risk, take that risk for $10. It's, you know, it's not very much. So I did a lot of research before getting it, and I heard that this plant, because of its very delicate fine leaves, it's better to grow it in sphagnum moss with sort of maybe a pond or leca reservoir at the bottom. So that's what I've done. And yeah, so far so good. It got this little dry tip here. I think one time, and right now too, I let the sphagnum moss dry out just a little bit too much, but overall it seems to be doing well. And I know I seem to be listing all the negatives. I'm just showing I'm aware of what comes with this plant. I've had it for, I think, a month now. I think this is the first time I'm featuring it on my channel, so it's its debut. This plant, it is one of the very few troublesome plants that I am permitting in my collection. And it's troublesome because many have said that it's a spider mite magnet and all the things. And as much as I like having only easy plants in my collection, I will make an allowance for this plant, for the few plants that they're so beautiful that I think they're worth it. So I have this setup. Let me introduce you to my setup. What I learned is for the Verrucosum, they benefit from having, what's it called? Leca at the bottom and then sphagnum moss at the top. And that way the roots can, on their own terms, reach down and get the water that's in the reservoir with the leca in it. So this is what I did when it only had 3 plants. I got it 3 leaves. When I got it, it was in soil, and then I took off the soil, and so far, so it's grown for me. One of the early leaves died, so it's maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's working on its 6th leaf here. So I'm very excited that I've managed to keep this alive. So I'm just going to pop it in here as delicately as possible. This plant feels very delicate. Like I just handled the Pothos, and that feels a lot more robust and stronger than this one. So anyways, I'm going to try not to trouble the roots as much as I can. And I'm going to pop it in here in this container, but now it's going to be a pot. I'm going to put this moss pole. The moss has dried up in here, so I probably should get it moist again. Put in the pond, and I clearly need more pond. I keep calling it pond. Leca. I keep calling it pond. All right, so I'm just gonna add some more leca, and I actually want this to be more leca than sphagnum moss because I don't want the plant, I don't know, I want to say I don't want the plant to depend too heavily on the spag, but let's be real, I'm putting it on a moss pole. But I want the mother plant, I want it to sort of get to the reservoir. I want it to sort of start having access to the water instead of only relying on the sphagnum moss. But anyways, we'll learn. This is my first plant. This is the logic that I'm using. Is it sound logic? We'll find out in a few months. I totally forgot about my moss pole. And I probably should have put my moss pool in before putting in so much leca. But I think this should be okay, right? I have a nod of approval behind the camera. So I want my nodes, and my nodes are the little black thingies on the plant here as I drip on the table, the little black parts at the base of the leaf. And I want these to have access to the moss pole because these are roots that are going to sink into the pole and make the plant more robust. I'm going to make it stronger. I'm going to make it absorb nutrients. And so the sphagnum moss keeps it just the right, keeps holding just the right amount of water. And then if it wants more than that, it can head down to the reservoir, which is what it was doing before I repotted it, the pool. So I'm just going to wrap it around here. This tape is using up. This pole is so big, it's using up a lot of tape. Yeah, how cute. Now the thing is, you can see how the leaves are pointing upward because it lives behind me in this area and they're pointing upwards. So this may have to get rehomed to the basement where I have my standing Barina grow light so that it can face forward. And then we'll have some pretty new leaves. All right, so I'm just squeezing out the excess water here. And something I've learned recently, I mean, I've dealt with sphagnum moss for a while, and something I've heard is never let your pole completely dry out because it's going to be really hard to get it wet again. So that's it. That's my verrucosum. They grow up so fast. So I'm blocking everything here. Let's just get it done and over with. I am just going to just snip, snip, snip. Just give her a chop. So the plan is, just so you're in on it, I'm going to cut it right here. I know it feels like a lot, but I'm going to cut it right here because I wanted to push out some new growth through here, and I still want to make use of the rest of this pole. One thing I did not show you in that video was the backs of the plant, but what I'll do is I'll chop it and then show you. So what should I do? I think, see, the long internodal spacing on this plant is what makes it get so tall so quickly. And even if I blast it with light, if you notice the petioles are super short, not super short, but they're short. The amount of light you give it doesn't affect the internodal spacing. So I am going to do a ready, jump. I did it. No going back now. This is the newest leaf. Oh my goodness, look at that. It matches my shirt. Isn't that adorable? Look at the backs. Look at the backs. So when I had this huge, I'm just taking off the extra hair because no roots will come out from this spot here. So I'm just going to cut off this excess and I'm going to rely on these little tiny little roots here, these tiny little things here to give me a brand new plant. It has some roots in the back growing in already, which is great. And the reason why I won't make changes to this pot and I will just add to it is because the roots are actually quite shallow. The roots actually haven't even really gone into the reservoir, just like a tiny smidgen. But for a plant of this height, you would think that more roots would be in the reservoir by now. What I will do is just pop these back in here just to give myself a fuller pot. Will it work? I don't know. It might, but I will try. Okay, I actually really like this setup. Let's see, I haven't seen it from the front. Oh, you didn't tell me it looks so good. Oh my, look at this. Oh man, this is gorgeous. Gorgeous. Of course, it's sort of bare hair and full hair. That's the challenge of repotting with a camera because I'm trying to make everything face you rather than myself because I want you to see what I'm doing. I want you to have fun too. All right, so I love this. I stinking love this, and I think this plant is going to love it too. Anyways, my Philodendron Verrucosum. Let's work at it. I need to, first of all, put it on a longer pole, obviously. In December, I chopped it up. So it used to be a lot longer than this. I chopped it up and I stuck a bunch of cuttings back in here. So because of that, this is drying out really fast. So I need to change the setup. I need to put it in a different pot, and we need this plant to work because we are significantly upsizing it, significantly. So we're going from this, whatever this is, Barbados fish cake batter. Oh no, this is a pineapple container. We're going from a pineapple container to this bad boy. And the reason I picked this is because I wanted something big enough to handle the girth of a moss bowl. I didn't want to do something too small, although I could also put it in, I forgot that I might also put it into this. I don't even know what size pot this is, but if you think about it, the difference isn't that significant, is it? Oh no, it's a significant difference. Okay, so not bad. There we go. All right, that's a relief. And then I'm going to put it in, we're going to continue our semi-hydro setup because that's working for it. It feels weird not saying hi. I'm trying to be all cool and be like, if you're here, you're not here for me, you're here for the plants. So it doesn't matter what my name is, but now I feel awkward. Hi, by the way, I'm Stephanie. I live in Canada, okay? I just feel like I really need to say that. So that if you're new here, thanks for coming. And also, you know who I am. All right, so my face says it all because, yeah. All right. I'm a little shocked because I just watered this a couple of days ago, like maybe yesterday. I just put a little water in here. So, wow. So as you can see, we've got it in some sphagnum moss. We've got it in sphagnum moss. And honestly, this setup is fire, like good, like the young people say it's fire. I am young. But this plant absolutely adores sphagnum moss. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to keep things in sphagnum. And as much as I want another no drainage setup, I think I'm going to put a pot in a pot. But anyways, I'm going to put it in this and then put it in another, something like this, so that I can flush it. It's not like I desperately want to flush it, but sometimes I do. Sometimes I just want to get in there. But the plant has been doing so well. Look at all this new growth in here. That looks fantastic. We've got, ooh, careful, don't squeeze the new leaf. New growth in here, new growth over here. We've got new leaves coming out of all different directions, and it's doing great. Ooh, another new leaf back here. It's doing great. Let's go to ACAM. See, right here, new leaf right here coming out of a side plant, and then new leaves at the bottom. Right here, new leaves on the side. We've just got new leaves everywhere. That's a new leaf at the top. And seriously, the Philodendron Verrucosum is pretty fast. She's a fast girl. She's super fast. Long petioles, yes, but she knows how to, you know, like grow, basically. I was gonna say something else, but I just didn't want that. Oh, I ripped a hole. The leaf got a hole in it. I'll show you in 1 second. This is also a plant that doesn't like having its roots exposed. It doesn't like being repotted. The leaves are super delicate and they get damaged easily. So I want to reduce as much time it's spending out here with me. And I want to do what I need to do as fast as possible. So I'm going to take the leca that's in here, switch it over in here. You see how down here is super gunky? Leca can get so gunky, and even if you wash it a ton, I still find it, you know, I've used and reused this leca a bunch. So I want to have that opportunity to be able to clean it up. But you see, now this just feels a little too, like too much. What am I gonna do? So here's what I'm gonna do. I am gonna make my reservoir smaller because the sphagnum moss is much better at wicking up, right? At holding in the moisture. So I want more sphagnum moss. That's what I want. So let's test. I don't think I ripped it. Did I just rip that? Oh man, that's a bummer. See, but this is not oh, okay, that's not bad. That's a decent size up. That's decent. Yeah, not bad. Okay, great. So that's enough space for sphagnum moss to add a little extra. I don't want it to be a crazy size up, although I don't think the plant would mind. Should I go flush this out? Might as well. So I've got my sphagnum moss here. I'm going to just pop it in here. And how am I gonna wet it? Am I going to go to the bathroom? Yes. I'll go to the bathroom to wet it. That's like the fastest way. And I also need to fill up the moss bowl. It also needs a second moss bowl, but honestly, I don't think I have enough sphagnum moss to do both. And I have some other urgent care plants. So we will see. If anything, I will add sphagnum. Here we go. So our sphagnum moss is here. Now, why am I doing it this way? I know people have their verrucosums in like chunky mixes and whatever. It's because I find the verrucosum to be a tricky plant to water. It can dry out really fast, and it's a very fine line between when to water and when not to water. And so yes, you may notice a little bit of yellowing leaves on the edges of mine from being underwatered, some brown I should say. But I think the reason for that is when I put more plants into one pot, the medium started drying out faster. So I wasn't getting at it fast enough. My sphagnum moss was drying out way too fast. So yeah, the reason that I'm using sphagnum moss is because I find sphagnum moss loses moisture a little bit. I don't know if I want to say more gradually. I don't know if I can't know quite what I want to say, but I just find sphagnum moss evenly distributes the water. It holds the water for a little longer than a chunky mix. I know you could just use soil, but I don't know. I don't know about soil in this plant. I don't know. I just feel safe using sphagnum moss because it coddles the plant a little bit more. So anyways, I have it in here in just plain water. Typically, I would use fertilized water because that's a nice way to get the sphagnum moss, get nutrients into the moss. So this plant is gonna end up in here. This needs to be rinsed. Let's go do it now. This is $1.29 at my local nursery. I actually just pick up a couple. It's deep. I just use it as a saucer. Yeah, it's called Deep Saucer 6-inch. I got it for $1.29. They have them selling at Home Depot for like $5 Canadian, like $5. I'm like Home Depot, really? Does it have to be so expensive? Did you know I get this for a couple dollars? $2. So anyways, I probably should have put the plant in first and then fit this sphagnum around the sphagnum moss. There we go. I'm all for loosening roots. I'm all for when repotting, loosening the roots so they could find their way again. I do that, but okay, I thought I popped something. But when it comes to fussy plants, I don't like doing it. And especially with the verrucosum, because the verrucosum has such a delicate root system. Can you imagine? It's drying out really fast, but it's not even root bound in here. It's just drying out quickly, not necessarily rooty. Does that make any sense? So it's thirsty because there are many plants in here, but the many plants have not pushed out that many roots, if you've noticed. Yeah, I definitely need to add a moss bowl. So it's very delicate, it's very fine, it breaks super easily. So that's a reason why I don't want to go at them. Okay, so I'm just gonna do this, squeezing sphagnum moss along the sides. I'm really surprised at how well this plant is doing, considering not how much I neglect it. It's not that I neglect it, but I kind of do. I let it, you know, I'm like, oh, I'll water it tomorrow, and then tomorrow, and that tomorrow becomes tomorrow. I thought this plant, for the reputation it has of being super fussy, I just thought that it would have dropped leaves a lot sooner. I thought it would look worse. Again, it's not the most beautiful Verrucosum you will ever see. There are so many very beautiful Verrucosum out there, but you know, I've neglected it a bit. So yeah, should I even bother putting sphagnum moss in the back? Sure, I will, just to support it. I probably could have put a few leca balls there, but leca is a bit more expensive. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna pop these in here. All right, and then maybe some roots will come in the back here, but I honestly doubt that. These roots are so, you know, I probably should have also pulled the pulled it further back, but that's okay. I'm happy with it. This is just me nitpicking and thinking I should have done this and that. Are you the type of repotter or plant care person who just starts and gets their hands dirty and then realizes, oh my goodness, I needed this, I needed this, I needed this? I'm like that. I'm not great at getting all my stuff and setting up early. I'm the same way when it even comes to cooking. When it comes to cooking, people put out all their ingredients and get started. I'm just not like that. I'm just thinking by the time I do all of that, I'm exhausted and I no longer have any interest in what I set out to do in the first place. All right, so I'm just going to pull this a little bit higher. I'm gonna fix this. Now, do I have more moss pools? We need some moss pool help here. Okay, now this, I don't know why, but the vine has turned itself in a way where this leaf here is facing back, is growing to face backward, which is bizarre to me because I've always given this plant light from the front so that it could face all in one direction, but for some reason it grew this way. I don't know. I think I would like to have just one more bit of tape. Okay, I'm just gonna steal from a plant, borrow I should say, from a plant that's not using it. And I just want to make sure that I want to get it to grow in facing the right direction. All right, we're gonna start with this. Would you like to imagine what I did in all of my twisting? I somewhat snapped the top vine, but I twisted it like this a little, but I just bruised it. I did not break it entirely. All right, so this is what we have so far. Now I will be able to fill this up. So I almost get more of a reservoir, if that makes sense. Or maybe it's like the same thing. I don't know. It's probably the same thing as it was before. But anyways, this is it. All right, now I need another moss pole so that this can face forward. Funny enough, I think I am all out of moss poles. I totally forgot that I needed to buy some more. I did the most urgent thing, which was to repot it and put it into a setup that can retain more water. Welcome to the future. Plant looks a little different than how it did when you last saw it. I ordered my moss pole and I installed it off camera. So I just, let's see, all I did was just attach it on the top, and then I used plant tape to wrap it around, because these are two different moss poles. You could see the pattern. They're two different ones, so they wouldn't be able to fit into each other the same, but that's okay. I just put one on top of the other because this is the first type of moss pole I ever got and I don't like it, so I don't want to buy more like it. I prefer this one, so I'm just going to move forward with that. But anyways, it is a little bit top heavy, so it does lean backward quite a bit. If you look at it, you can see it already leans back, but it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to properly live where I need it to live. This leaf is still wanting to face back, which is again so bizarre to me because none of the light is coming from the back. There's no light coming from the back. I have no idea why it grew this way, and you can see where I accidentally twisted it here right there, but it's not severed, so it's fine. And yeah, so I just put this in yesterday, and this is the latest leaf. This is my hand next to it, so still not huge, but still a pretty good size. You know, it's sizing up nicely for 9 months. And whoops. Let's see, let's fix this leaf. Don't fall backwards. It wants to. Just messed with it. Don't. Hajima. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty tippy. But anyway, it looks nice. I like it. Obviously, by the next leaf is going to outgrow this pole. Let's see in the back, you can already see the new leaf here. So it's gonna outgrow this pole pretty soon, but that's okay. I will put it on the floor. I do have a standing lamp down here. I'm just gonna pop it here. As you can see, I've put my Mandula Pothos here. But anyways, it seems to be going good so far. I just do need to cut out these yellowing bits just to make it look a little bit cleaner. But that's it. That's it. Not that much different since you last saw it because that was just a few days ago. And I just want to keep this reservoir high to ensure that it's always touching the moss pole. And I'm glad that I put in more moss than leca because we need the moss to stay moist, right? So the more moss you have, you know, the more it's gonna stay moist, because I find even if I had a lot of leca, the amount of leca wasn't affecting how moist this stayed, so the water used to just stay at the bottom in the leca and it didn't used to wick up as nicely as I wanted it to. I probably could have also used an actual wick. That would have been another idea as well. But anyways, let me try this and see how I like it. So less leca, and that way when I fill it up, I'm just going to let the water go to the bottom. I'm going to let the water fill up to the sphagnum moss just a little bit, so that could activate the rest of the sphagnum moss. So more moss, less leca, but I don't want the whole thing to be moss, if that makes any sense. Anyways, and just look at a cute little look at my Anthurium when lingering, pushing out a new leaf. I'm sorry, I just couldn't ignore it. It's super cute. And then last but not least, I wanted to show you where it gets its light from. So I have 3 grow lights in here. This is a DIY setup. You've probably seen it before. I bought this lamp from IKEA and then got the grow lights online on Amazon, and I just point all 3 of them right at the plants. I thought that it wasn't going to be enough light because they're so far away, but the plants are still growing. They're still doing well. They're happy. Like, they haven't shown any signs of stress. They're using up the reservoirs pretty quickly. So I think we are good. And let me just show you a ladybug that has come in my house from outside. These are very common ladybugs from my area, and they fill my house and they go all over my plants. Like, it's not terrible as in everywhere you look is a ladybug, but there are a lot of ladybugs in my house, like a lot. And these bite, but they've never bitten us unless they've been provoked. But anyways, they love my plants, and I've noticed a significant reduction in thrips since they've sort of come back since spring has started. But anyways, I'm talking a whole lot, but this is the final update on my Verrucosum and how it's doing. And yeah, that's the journey. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.